City volunteers distribute aid supplies to Bedouins in a tent area in Jordan. Team members once again hold monthly free clinic in Zhuolan mountain area in Miaoli. Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. Taiwan city volunteers have traveled to Jordan to meet up with the local volunteers to conduct a charity mission. The volunteers will conduct a 9-day winter aid distribution. They first went to the Bedouin tent area near the airport to distribute aid supplies. Besides rice, sugar, beans, cooking oil, and tea, the volunteers also brought socks, shoes, and jackets to help the Bedouins survive the harsh winter. After a 14-hour flight that traveled for more than 8,000 kilometers, Taiwan city volunteers and us have reached Jordan's capital, Amman. Our first mission is to conduct aid distributions at the Bedouin tent area near the airport. Good to see you. The volunteers from two places have met up, and they're full of passion to serve. During the 15-minute car ride, one sees the desert and the white houses. However, the scene at the destination is totally different from these. There's a saying that Bedouin consider the world their home. The cows and goats are of their assets. With the linen and wooden poles, they need to survive the below zero temperature of the winter. Life is really harsh for them.
The medication for my heart problem is very expensive for me.
There are times when they hide their suffering behind their smiles.
She's pregnant. She's pregnant. Yes, baby. Yes, baby.
He was willing to go to school, however, he was bullied at the school. Since Bedouins seem to be different, many children bullied him or even hit him. I'm still communicating with him, hoping he will return to school because he's really a smart child.
Jordan's neighboring countries, including Syria and Iraq, are unstable. Therefore, many refugees came here, which adds burden to the social resources. As a result, the impoverished people face an even harder life.
They are marginalized by the city dwellers. No matter how they are forced to move, the volunteers visit them monthly, providing aid supplies. This time, the volunteers brought them rice, sugar, beans, and even socks and shoes.
Our socks are given to us by Tzu Chi brothers and sisters at Nehu Recycling Station. We bought the shoes in Jordan. People from different corners give of themselves to help the people here. Are you happy? Are you happy? Look, he can understand Taiwanese.
OK， 好，要好好读书哦。哦。
City volunteers have spread seeds of love in the minds of the children and Bedouins, which will sprout and create a cycle of love. Massive earthquakes have devastated parts of the Philippines in October and November. After distributing aid supplies, city volunteers have once again traveled to Magsaysay's tent area. While there, they distributed Jingsi folding beds and vitamins, helping more than 200 affected families. City volunteers have driven into Magsaysay town. As the volunteers' truck reached the tent area in Upper Ala, the residents came to help unload the supplies. When they received the Jingsi folding beds from the volunteers, they are filled with joy.
I'm grateful for receiving the folding bed because we have been sleeping on the ground in a tent. My children have started to cough recently. With the bed and the blankets you gave us earlier, we would not feel cold at night.
It is really bad that they are still staying in tents in the disaster areas. Fortunately, thanks to the master's compassion, we were able to bring blankets and the jinsu floating beds here. At least, we helped improve their living conditions. I think our work is worthwhile.
It has been 3 weeks since Mindanao was devastated by massive earthquakes. Most affected residents are still staying in temporary shelters. A pharmaceutical company in Manila has asked the volunteers to bring their donated vitamins to the affected residents.
We've been staying in a temporary shelter for a while, and many affected residents have started coughing and having other cold symptoms. We're afraid of infection. These vitamins can boost our immunity.
Besides city volunteers, the local government officials also worry for the residents. The town mayor has participated in city's aid distribution many times.
Kung makabili na tayo ng lupa, we can start.
We do not want the affected residents to stay in the temporary shelters for too long. As we provide them with basic necessities, we are also looking for suitable land for the affected residents to rebuild their homes.
Natural disasters have devastated affected residents' homes. Fortunately, city volunteers have reached out to them. Hopefully, this cycle of love will continue to grow as time goes on. City volunteers have traveled to an impoverished village in Sierra Leone to care for the people in need. In the village, there are many physically challenged adults and children plagued by illnesses. A school principal has asked city volunteers if they brought food because his students have not eaten for days. Upon learning of their situation, the volunteers immediately took out their stock of multigrain powder for the children. Illnesses have shattered their childhood. These children who live in the same area are either mentally or physically challenged or malnutrition.
Good morning,
City volunteers have come to provide care, hoping to bring them a little warmth.
G. And what is G? G. G is girl, right? G. H is hot. And then I forgot. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. What is I?
In the remote village, both adults and children have been plagued by sickness.
We are looking at people who suffer the most, the orphans who are mentally or physically challenged and orphans plagued by Ebola.
City volunteers teach the villagers health knowledge. However, they also feel helpless about the current situation.
In August, there were cases of cholera because of the floods. Cholera is transmitted through feces. The speed of which cholera spreads is very fast and the mortality rate is very high. Washing hands is thus very important. However, I've discovered that they do not have enough access to water, especially clean water.
In this barren land, the well is broken and there's a lack of food.
A young principal came over and asked me, "Did you bring food?" I told him that although I'm not the person in charge, but to my understanding, we did not bring food today. We'll only distribute blankets and clothes. The principal was very disappointed. He said, "We need food. Do you know we need food? You know I have a lot of students. They cannot attend classes because they haven't eaten for days. As a result, they lack the strength to walk to school."
This is we call.
The volunteers immediately took out their stock of multigrain powder for the hungry children.
The
world is very large. Why does the master worry about how time is running out? There's not enough people doing good deeds. In other words, we need more people to join our organization.
In this village, the residents lack basic necessities and they need the help and support of more kind-hearted people. City volunteers and TIMA members hold monthly free clinic at Zhuolan mountain area in Miaoli. Taichung City Hospital's Dr. Ni Yonglun attended the free clinic for the first time. She's deeply touched to see how city volunteers serve the elderly patients.
City volunteers and TIMA are holding free clinic at Zhuolan mountain area. A solitary senior patient, Mr. Xu's health is needing some attention. Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital Thoracic Department, Dr. Ni Yonglun asked after Mr. Xu's health condition patiently.
Are you normally out of breath? No, why start smoking again?
This is the first time Dr. Ni Yonglun joined in a free clinic. She felt grateful for the opportunity and was deeply moved by her experience.
Through seeing this, I feel very touched. The feeling is very different from helping patients in the hospital. There are many Tzu Chi volunteers here to care for the patients as well. They cheer them up and move them deeply.
Seniors living in a remote area also need love and care. Thus, Tzu Chi volunteers host free clinics in a mountain area, providing them direct support.
If I get another chance, I'll volunteer again.
Pharmacist Xiao Shouyu hasn't joined the volunteering effort for a while. However, she rediscovered her self-worth in this selfless giving and gained immense Dharma joy.
When I arrived here, my heart was once again showered with gratefulness. I think people should have some goals in their life. These goals will encourage us to take actions and make contributions. Although what I did was minimal, I still feel very happy about it.
Serving free clinics with love, the feeling of gratefulness is an amazing experience.
Which country has the most expensive agricultural land? The answer is Taiwan, which may surprise you. This is due to the price manipulation of agricultural land being turned to factory land or housing properties. In the past 8 years, these agricultural land prices have tripled, making it difficult for young people who want to get into agriculture. Sometimes the factory wastewater will enter this ditch. It'll then really be foul-smelling.
The wastewater is red. Sometimes it's blue, but most time it is red. And there is no fish in the ditch.
50 years ago in this area, there would be farm fields as far as the eye could see.
In the early days, this was all farm fields, but now it's more common to see factories here.
Seeing the neighboring farmland turn into factories, Mr. and Mrs. Lee stand firm in continuing their agricultural dream. The small house next to the farmland used to be Mrs. Lee's home. When her husband passed away, she went to live with her son. However, each morning she takes the bus to come to work on the farmland.
I've been cultivating this land for 50-some years. I started when I was in my teens. We were able to purchase a farm field then.
This 0.38 hectare land was purchased by her and her husband for a few $100,000 NT dollars. If she sold it today according to the current price for New Taipei City's farmland, it would sell for over 15 million NT dollars, which would be enough for her retirement, but she cannot bear to sell it.
I'm standing in Ganyuan Borough of New Taipei City's Zhuolan. This is a farming zone, which means there shouldn't be any buildings in the area. But as you can see, there are many factories built here, which has really inflated the prices of the agricultural property.
In the past 6 years, New Taipei City's farmland prices has increased to 117%, leading the first place for price hike. The second is Taidong County, with Pingdong County, Hualien, Miaoli, and Zhanghua following. With the 6 top price inflation regions scattered across the island, it is obvious that this agricultural property price inflation is not limited to certain regions, yet all have the same type of circumstances, which is that wherever there is a concentrated areas of factories built on farmlands, then those agricultural land property prices continue to rise.
Farmers who work hard at the agriculture cannot make 200,000 NT a year. So if the land property is going to continue to rise, why should I work this hard at farming?
In 2000, to motivate agricultural development domestically, Taiwanese citizens who are 18 years and older can purchase agricultural land and build housing on it. Thus, some will exploit the loophole in this policy and build extravagant housing and even factories on farmland. In the past 6 years and a half, there have been a total of 130,000 domestic farmland property sales, with 80% of it under 0.25 hectares of land.
Taiwan's farmland market has changed. It's now in smaller properties and higher prices, which means the farmland properties inflation isn't due to agricultural usage.
Scholars believe much of the buy and sell of farmland isn't for agricultural use, but to build factories or houses.
If your farmland is 0.06 hectares and you build a factory on top of it, you can raise the rental price for your property anywhere, from $654 to near $2,000 a month. Of course, it's going to influence the farmland prices.
Domestically, the annual income of farming households on average is 1.2 to 1.3 million, where they have on average 0.7 hectares of fertile land. However, prices of such a size of land property is 40 million, which means it's 30 times the annual income. The problem is, besides those who inherit it from their family, for those young people without farmland properties, if they want to purchase a 0.7 hectare of land to farm, they need to save up for 30 years to be able to afford it.
With the expensive farmland, those who want to be in agriculture has a higher obstacle to overcome to begin this job.
If the government's policies are clear, then there wouldn't be a race to build on farmland, because currently it says that if your farmland factory is approved as industrial, then it states that you cannot sell the property afterwards, only inherit it.
Even if factories built on farmland are legalized, in the future it won't be able to be sold as property in factory. The law revision is to prevent the manipulation of prices on agricultural land. Yet the truth is that Taiwan's farmland is the most expensive globally already, and it is also rapidly decreasing. In the past 19 years, Taiwan's disappearing farmland is over 60,000 hectares, which is an 8% decrease. In other words, each year over 90 Taipei's Da'an Park-sized fertile land is gone, most likely turned into factory farmlands.
We can see from our government's enforcements that the frequency of citations and penalties for the factories built on farmland as compared to their farmland's worth is not high.
Shatinbaro has been heavily polluted by different metal materials, so the rice fields here have been forced to lay fallow. The issue with illegal factories on farmland has really been a problem that leaves everyone helpless.
This is Xiatian Borough of Taichung City's Dali district. Behind my area, many factories built on farmlands. Due to the long-term pollution to the earth, the government rezoned this area as an industrial zone in March of 2017 to allow factories to legally be here. The pollution to our fertile land is so great that it's not possible to return using it for agriculture. We are then forced to reconsider, perhaps just accept the change from farm fields to industrial usage, as most consumers will not accept food grown from such polluted zones.
When farmlands turn into industrial zones, no matter if it's an approved by the government or an illegal one, as the coal cement walls replace warm, fertile land, maybe what can be achieved through life's value is thus lost.
In Shenyang, China, there's an elderly Tzu Chi volunteer, Kang Huinan, who takes the bus to go volunteering at the Tzu Chi office. Despite the commute, she's happy being able to give of herself. She once felt lonely after her husband passed away. Fortunately, she has now found a new meaning in life. To travel from her home to the Tzu Chi Shenyang office, Kang Huinan needs to take a bus and make transfers. She always runs or walks fast because she's afraid of missing the bus.
To catch the bus, I need to run on the way. Despite that, I am still filled with joy because I really want to help with recycling.
Kang Huinan, who's 78 years old, never thought this is something troublesome.
I am not concerned about whether I get a seat on the bus or not. I'm happy to get on the bus. As long as I can reach the Tzu Chi office soon, I'm fine.
Since her husband passed away last spring, she once felt very lonely. Her daughter, who volunteers with Tzu Chi, has brought her to the recycling station, where she found new meaning in life.
The volunteers at Tzu Chi do not think I am too old. I can still do something at Tzu Chi and feel joyful about it. They cherish me. Tzu Chi is so good, so I must do a good job.
It seems to be the place I have been looking for my entire life. Therefore, I keep volunteering with Tzu Chi.
The other volunteers are also used to her companionship, whether it is recycling, cleaning the office, or sewing at a handicrafts workshop. She can do it all, including making enzymes.
If I do not come to the office every day, I will miss you. These elderly Bodhisattvas are like our mothers.
The volunteers cherish each other as they are all members of the big Tzu Chi family. 3 recycling volunteers in Taichung have been volunteering for 15 years at a local recycling station. Due to some physical discomfort and injury, they can't go volunteering as they used to. That's why the volunteers visited them to care for them.
Shen Mulan was resting at home since her hand was injured. When seeing the familiar volunteers coming to visit, she was moved to tears. She shared her changes after joining Tzu Chi.
First, I have the chance to study. Second, I have the chance to learn reading. Third, I have sisters and brothers to care for me.
Her neighbor Zhang Xiqing, who is also a recycling volunteer, is the initial founder of the local recycling station. Due to illness, he could not volunteer at the recycling station every day as he used to. Thus, volunteers went to his home to visit him.
I feel very warm. Everybody cares for me so much.
Whoever is absent and not feeling well, volunteers will visit them as if they are one family. Yan Ashang was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Her right hand shook rigorously that she almost couldn't perform any detailed movements using her fingers. However, she still insists to volunteer at the recycling station every day.
I make a vow that I shouldn't let my illness get worse, so I keep going. I can do it and I will keep doing it. I feel better when I volunteer at the recycling station than staying at home.
Volunteers could not persuade her to rest at home, but still worried that she couldn't walk steadily. So they prepared her a baby carriage in case she falls down.
We worried that she might fall down on the way, so we asked her to push this baby carriage while walking to the recycling station and return, since it could balance her steps well.
If she is free, she will collect recyclables near her home. She and her baby carriage are like a symbol of persistence.
Since massive earthquake struck Mexico in 2017, UN TIMA members have been holding free clinics there. To thank the local volunteers for their help, TIMA members held a special free clinic for the local volunteers and their families. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.